Lemonada.
Welcome to Worth It from the Minnesota Star Tribune. I'm Nicole Norfleet. Each week on the show, we share the happenings around Minnesota that we think are worth your time, your attention, and your money. Today on the show, legendary dive bar Palmer's is closing for good this weekend, and they're throwing one hell of a going-away party. What is camping without a campfire? We'll talk about how feelings about fires are changing. And lots of workers are returning to downtown Minneapolis. We've got a guide to downtown eats and drinks for workers and everyone else. But before I get to that, I just need to tell you, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to survive this Vikings season. Obviously, we had a really great win on Monday. I mean, go Vikings. But didn't that seem a little reminiscent of last year where we had to pull out the win the last quarter? I mean, big ups to J.J. McCarthy, his first NFL debut. We won 27-24 over the Bears. But guys, I don't know if my anxiety can take this. I had a panic attack. And if you remember last year, there were so many close games last year. We went in the last few minutes. Yeah, it was exciting. Yeah, it was fun to watch the clips. But you know what? This Sunday, guys, when you play the Falcons, it's okay not to have to come back from behind to win. You can just kick their butts the whole time. That'll be great for my, blood pressure. Awesome. All right, let's get into it. Way back in 1906, a tiny little bar opened in the West Bank Cedar Riverside neighborhood in Minneapolis. And it's wild to say this, that bar has stayed open all this time. It's Palmer's Bar, and it's been a very special little neighborhood hangout. But after 119 years, the time has come for Palmer's to close its doors. This weekend, the bar is having a final bash to celebrate its place in Minneapolis dive history. To tell us more about that history and what's happening this weekend is Star Tribune music critic Chris Rumenschneider. Hey, Chris.
Hey.
So, dude, 119 years, that is, I don't know, is that a record or something?
I wasn't on the beat then, but John Breen might have been. So,
maybe, possibly.
Yeah. No, yeah, it was around, it survived Prohibition in a rather colorful way because there's a tunnel there that was believed to be
underneath.
Yeah.
So how did that work?
There was also a bar across the street which also shut down under kind of similar circumstances a few years ago. The Nomad World Pub also used to be called Five Corner Saloon, and apparently there was some kind of transactions going on.
On in the tunnel.
Yeah, but there are all kinds of colorful history like that up until recent history of it just being a really great music venue for a lot of untested but adventurous bands and a lot of our kind of local heroes, unsung local heroes. It was a one-of-a-kind bar that had been celebrated by Esquire magazine's list of best bars in America.
In the country, right?
Yeah. So in that sense, more beyond the music, it's just the people that hung out there and just the vibe you got. It just the place itself was a character, in addition to the characters you met there. So it's going to be sorely missed. It's really sad circumstances.
One of the things I hear about Palmer's is just everyone just feels really welcome. You just show up as you are, and it's a great spot for that. I think in 2022, local journalist Mecca Boss did a story for Minnesota Public Radio News. We have a clip to play.
As a young person, I gravitated to Palmer's Bar on the West Bank of Minneapolis. The dive bar institution has a rough-and-tumble facade and reputation, but I immediately found that it was one of the most welcoming spaces I had ever been to. I approach a group of other Black patrons. I ask what it is about Palmer's that keeps them coming back.
A cat can hang out with a dog here and nobody would pay attention to it. And, we all family for real. We love each other in Palmer's.
I've been coming here maybe about 6 months now. We have a ball.
A cat and a dog can be there and hanging out, getting beers. Is that what you think too?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean it's always been a racially mixed place. I mean a lot of the musicians that played there were white musicians, but they were playing Black music and they were openly owning up to that. On up until recently, it's really they've had a lot of LGBTQ plus events there. You get queercore kind of bands on the patio, things like that. It was an all inclusive place in the best way, and that unnerved some people of how it was an urban place. It is an urban place.
It's a melting pot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of what that is what made it so great. And we're losing these places.
So obviously this is not like a huge space. What made it such a mainstay, a place that, like you said, it's on the top list for the country?
I mean, it just survived all of those eras, and it was a big part of what was kind of the heyday of the West Bank era, which was the 60s and 70s, that young Robert Zimmerman hung around a little bit down there before he moved to New York, and guys like Kerner Ring, Glover, those old blues guys, and Willie Murphy, they just played all those bars a lot. And this is kind of the last remnant of that era. The 400 bar up the street had been a part of that era. That got bought up and shut down. And the Five Corner Saloon, a.k.a. Nomad Pub. Yeah, this is kind of the last remnant of that. I should say the Cedar Cultural Center is still there. The Cedar Cultural Center isn't a bar. It's a performance space. It's a great performance space.
Is pretty cool, yeah.
And I pray that place just hangs on. And I love that place. So everyone's kind of saying that the West Bank scene is officially dead with Palmer's. No, there's still really great music happening at the Cedar, but it isn't a bar like Palmer's and these other places were.
So why is Palmer's closing? What's the deal?
It went through some ownership changes. One of the prior owners, Keith, he passed away not too long ago. A partner of his, Lisa Hammer, kept it alive and well. She sold it, and there it got a little murky with the ownership, and there was some lost money with one of the previous owners, and the current owners of it, a couple that own another bar, their name is Pat and Sarah Dwyer. They own Grumpy's Bar in Northeast as well.
Right.
They've been trying to keep it afloat with this debt, this lost money, and with the way and we've talked about this previously, actually, of how bars are hurting around town and breweries because the kids aren't drinking anymore.
What's going on?
Yeah, no. And then in the case of the West Bank, it's the changing population over there. It's been such a dramatic, wonderfully dynamic area with immigrant population, but it's a lot of Muslim Americans that live there who don't drink. And they don't really want these bars in their neighborhood. And I don't know, you can't necessarily blame them for that.
Well, I mean, so I understand a neighboring mosque is going to be purchasing Palmer's. Can you tell us about the plans for that? Yeah,
it's just going to kind of be an event center for them, community center. It's they're neighboring right there. So it's a great idea for them. It's a cool space. So for them, they'll get to have fun there. And not just have fun, their religious practices and the spiritual aspect of that will be beneficial to them, and who's to argue against that?
Obviously, it's sad that it's going, but this weekend is supposed to be a huge bash. Tell us about that.
Yeah, all day Sunday. It's going to be a long...
It's like 11 hours, 12 hours?
30 bands, 30 different performers, like from noon to 10 p.m., it's some of the
marathon.
It's a marathon, and it shows a lot of the diversity that's at play there. They're kind of starting out with kind of more singer-songwriters and the twangier acts like Jack Klatt is playing, Doug Collins, who's a great country singer in town. Acts like that, and then they're getting a little bit noisier as the day goes on.
Are you gonna be there the whole time?
I'm not sure the whole time, but I'll be there a long time. And then they have music indoors and outdoors, which was one of the things that made Palmer so great, especially in recent years, was that outdoor patio. One of the acts that plays there all the time, the Brass Messengers, kind of a New Orleans-y brass band kind of thing. They're going to do a funeral procession from the patio, and then they're going to end indoors with Cornbread Harris.
Jimmy Jam's dad.
Jimmy Jam's dad, local piano legend. He's played on the very first rock and roll record made in Minnesota, and he's still around.
How old is he now? He's like in his 90s?
Cornbread is 98.
Wow.
Yeah.
Almost as old as the bar itself.
And he fits the vibe of the bar greatly. He is going to keep up these Sunday gigs.
Where we're at?
This hasn't been announced yet, but word is it's the Schooner Tavern.
Nice.
Which is the story I have on our website of other bars that are like Palmer's that you can go to now that Palmer's isn't here. The Schooner Tavern is one of those.
I was also thinking White Squirrel.
Yeah.
I was there on West 7th in St. Paul a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Man, I just love it. I mean, think straight when you're in there, and it's like but you can feel the music deep in your bones, and you go out into the patio, and come back, and
Yeah, it's similar that way. It's indoors, outdoors, and it's a newer place, like the bar itself. It's in an old building, and it has a real similar aesthetic to the music bookings, pretty eclectic and taking a chance on newer talent. So, yeah, White Squirrel is one of those places. Dusty's Bar is another great old dive bar in Northeast Minneapolis that I put on this list, who's actually booked by the same person that books Palmer's, Christy Costello, who's a kick-butt musician in town, too. So she's going to be doing her thing over there. So there's still these places. Let's make sure they stick around. Let's support them.
I mean, they have non-alcoholic beverages, guys. You don't have to drink if you go there. You can just go for the music, get a lemonade or something.
Yeah, you can just go for the music. And if you're not getting a beer, put $5 in the tip jar for the band then.
Yeah. Well, I hope you get to go out to that bash on Sunday, guys, for the last hurrah at Palmer's. Another great music venue we're going to miss. But like Chris was saying, there's other places to go. Let's go out and support them.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Chris, for coming.
Thank you.
We'll take a little break here. When we come back, are campfires going up in smoke? We'll chat about it.
If you like Worth It, you should know it's just a tiny taste of all that the Minnesota Star Tribune has to offer. We've got an all-access pass to everything Minnesota, from outdoor adventures to the hottest food spots you've never heard of. From puzzles and games to the best concerts and happenings around the state. It's all here all the time. So subscribe to the Minnesota Star Tribune. It's a great deal. Go to startribune.com/worthit to subscribe. That's worth it to subscribe, all one word. This is an ad by BetterHelp. We've all had that epic rideshare experience. Halfway through the trip, you know their heartbreak, their career path, and they know your aspirations to go find yourself in Portugal. It's human. We're all looking for connection, for someone to listen. But sometimes the people we spill our hearts to aren't exactly equipped to help us through it. With over a decade of data-backed experience from helping millions of people, BetterHelp matches you with a therapist based on your needs and goals. No asking for recommendations or endless scrolling through listings. Simply answer a few questions online and you'll be matched with a therapist, often in as little as 48 hours. Join over 5 million people worldwide who've trusted BetterHelp for their mental health and well-being. Get a therapist who gets you. Visit BetterHelp.com for 10% off your first month.
The fall camping season is just beginning. And part of the essential experience of camping has traditionally been gathering around a nice campfire. But nowadays, people are going fireless. What's going on with that? So reporter Tim Gearing recently looked into this, and he's here with me to talk about what's going on with campfires in Minnesota. Tim, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So we're both campers, okay, right?
Yes.
Fire or no fire? Where do you stand?
I'm fire. I'm team fire.
For me, fire is the quintessential, I don't feel like you've gone camping if you don't come home smelling like a campfire, right? And sometimes we cook over it. Sometimes we just use it for ambiance, and sometimes it's just a s'mores thing. But literally, I would say every night when we go camping, we have a fire. Mm-hmm. And so it was interesting to read your story about why, what is going on right now where you think there's less fires being started, or?
Yeah, well, I think we all sensed the smoke in the air this summer, right? And that's sort of our reminder that the climate is changing. The forests are not okay. They're drying out, and invasive beetles and diseases are attacking them. And so there's just a lot more wildfire risk going around. And so if you've been camping in the last 4 or 5 years, you've noticed fire bans probably, maybe while you were up there or happening around you. And last fall, there was pretty much most of the state was covered with a fire ban. Mm-hmm. And this spring, we had a number of wildfires pop up, including the Camp House fire, which was started by a campfire.
Right. I think the Duluth man was charged just last week for that.
Right.
I mean, because wildfires, not a lot of them are, I just want to make sure I understand, are a ton of them started by campfires?
No. So the DNR told me that about 3 to 5% of wildfires are started by campfires. By far, the biggest source of wildfire are what they call debris fires. So these are people who are burning leaves or other stuff that, well, hopefully not too much trash, but yeah, like, things that they're raking up on their property. That's like 30% of wildfires. And, I asked them, they were like, well, we regulate those things. And I was like, okay, how? And they said, well, we have a permit. I'm like, okay. It's $5 for a year to burn pretty much whatever you want on your property.
Right.
So I don't know that that's really like narrowing the number of fires too much.
Well, what about climate change? Is that a reason why people aren't having fires anymore?
Yeah. I mean, so people come down on different sides of this. And there are the folks who are like, absolutely, we need to be concerned about this because any kind of fire is just adding to the climate concerns. And then there are folks who will say no, like, environmentalists who will say, fire is not, people having fires is not the issue here. And we should be more concerned about the source of the climate change in the first place. So instead of coming down on campers, people who are just trying to enjoy themselves around their campsite, we should be more concerned about, fossil fuel companies and places that are, sort of abetting the climate change that we're seeing.
And plus, they're driving to the site, right? A lot of these people. So I feel like that carbon footprint is probably a little bit bigger than...
Yeah, unless you're riding your bike to the Boundary Waters, the amount of CO2 that's being produced by your fire pales in comparison to what you did just to get there.
But I think some of what's going on is that you really don't need a fire to cook nowadays. There's so much little gas stoves. There's little things in your camper now. I feel like maybe we're just a little spoiled that we don't have to cook over the fire anymore.
Yeah. One thing that's changing alongside the wildfire risk is that the way we camp is changing, right? And the way we relate to nature. Part of that is gear. You can get your camp stove to do anything you want pretty much better than a campfire, frankly. You can control it more, right? Mm-hmm. For warmth, you have your puffies and you have your excellent sleeping bags and stuff.
Right.
They were never that great for mosquitoes in the first place, let's be honest. You were just distracted by whatever you were doing around the fire.
Yeah.
That you didn't notice them. So the need for fire has almost evaporated in those terms.
Do you have like a favorite campfire dish, like a dish that tastes the best if you make it over a campfire?
Yeah, I'm kind of a sucker for like the hobo packs that you just put in a wrapper and you put it on the fire and it cooks up potatoes, carrots, things like that.
Okay.
Otherwise, no.
Some things, I think there's just some things that just taste better on an open fire. So,
like, what do you do?
First time I had squirrel. First time I had squirrel was over a fire. I mean, no, it's weird.
There's a story.
Well, I don't know if there's much of a story. I mean, squirrel's super small. I had like a little piece of leg, and I swear it wouldn't taste good any other way, but it was all right. Then my brother-in-laws spent all day trying to hunt for squirrel, and there was one squirrel. We split it among like 5 of us.
Each get a leg.
Each one takes a little bite.
So a lot of hardcore campfire people will, if they're going to the Boundary Waters, they'll put some stakes in their backpack.
Right.
When they set out in their portage, and by the time they get there and they're ready to, settle down, they'll be thawed out. And you throw them on these grills, and, they swear by that.
That's the way to do it. I mean, are there other ways? I don't know if you can give any kind of tips for safe campfire use or...
Yeah, so I talked to Don Shelby, which is a whole story, right? But so Don Shelby is this guy who was a former WCCO TV host, kind of famous around here, right? And he is someone who has become a real outdoors kind of ambassador for Minnesota and a climate advocate, as far as dealing with climate change. And for the most part, he's done away with fire in his personal camping. But he'll say, if you do a fire, do it right, make it small. Mm-hmm. Don't have it going for a long time. And when you're done, bury the wood because then it won't release its CO2. So bury that charcoal.
Okay.
So that's one way to do a fire right.
Don Shelby, Smokey the Bear. You ought to know. Well, Tim, I'm glad that you're at least still on Team Fire with me. I say once in a while, why don't we enjoy ourselves outdoors and be able to do it? But I understand the other people that want to do it in moderation. Yeah.
I mean, I think what's happening too is like I went out to California this summer and it was kind of an eye-opener for me. Like we were headed to this campground and I get a call and they say, "Do you want the gas on?" And I thought, well, what do I need gas for? It's not like we're in an RV. And they said, well, no, that's for your campfire.
What?
Yeah. So you get there, and sure enough, there's like this metal disc that you turn on, and like, poof, and there's your fire, and they give you some s'mores, and you do it over this.
Is there a grate there or something?
Nope. It's just like a metal donut with holes in it that the fire comes out.
Oh, wow.
So, people have who have been dealing with this for a long time have figured out other ways to do things. And you get used to that. And the other thing that's happening with camping a lot, right, is like glamping. And so you go to these places and they might even have like a collective like lounge or like place where you're expected to gather for a fire. And we went to this other campground where we were staying in these like refurbed, like, shiny trailers from the 50s,
like those auto camp kind of things.
Yes, like an auto camp. And, they have what they call Wi-Fi, which is like their precious word for Wi-Fi. So in your little trailer, now you have like a TV over the bed and you have streaming, whatever. And so, one night, sure enough, we have like the Disney Plus going with my daughter. And I start smelling something coming through the window. And I'm like, boy, that's sort of, and then I hear like that low hum of people talking. I'm like, oh, a campfire.
Uh-huh.
Like we've been out for so long in a place where they've kind of mostly done away with it that I was like, I barely know what this is anymore.
You're like, I think I smell something burning.
What is this? Something's burning. Uh-oh. But, sure enough, I'm like, well, we got Disney on. I just slide the window shut. So that was kind of a moment where you're
starting to go to the other side. Well, I'll bring you back to the fire side. You can always come up with me to our land, and
it sounds wonderful.
I'll help you put together a fire.
Get some squirrel.
Well, thanks so much for coming, Tim.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break, but hang around because next up, we're getting the lowdown on the best eats and drinks in downtown Minneapolis. We are located in downtown Minneapolis, and I'll tell you, things are feeling a little busier on the streets and in the skyways. This week, Target hosted its all-company meeting in downtown Minneapolis. The company also began to require workers to return to the office at least 3 days a week. Target is the second largest employer in downtown Minneapolis, and Target isn't the only company asking people to come back to work. That's a lot of people, and all those people need to eat. Our food and drink reporters fanned out across downtown to survey the food options. Joy Summers is a food and drink reporter, and she joins me now. Hey, Joy.
Hey.
So, like I said, you guys just, spread out throughout the city. What were you guys looking for?
We just started walking all of the skyways. The skyway system, you can go for
Where am
miles.
I?
Yeah. And they don't always make sense. And you always meet people who have that skyway confused look on their faces.
Yeah, they're just like standing in the middle and like kind of like
do you need help? And let me tell you where to go eat, because there's so many places, especially if you haven't been in the skyway system since the pandemic, or it's been a while since you've really gotten out and walked through them.
True.
There's so many businesses that have opened up. We've had a lot of changeover, but I've seen a lot of the big change start to move on. There aren't nearly as many Caribous, but there are all kinds of boutique, small, independently owned coffee shops now, which is so fun. And they all have distinctive personalities and cool things to offer. Same with lunch. Same with some of the other businesses. If you even venture outside, there's some new occasion-worthy restaurants, too.
So, often we always hear, like, downtown is dead. But what you're telling me is downtown is very much alive? Or how do you compare the food scene here now to pre-pandemic?
I think like any neighborhood, it's going through an evolution. Things change. Nothing stays the same. Everybody wants to have nostalgia for things that they miss, but we're in a new era, and that's just how things work, right? Like creative ideas come in. People who are ready to try new dreams show up. And that always, for me, means good food.
Obviously, we're talking about like people are coming back to downtown. A lot of employers are asking their employees to come and at least have a few days in the office, similar to what we do here at the Star Tribune. Have you heard from businesses as of yet if they're feeling the impact of that? I don't know. Is it too early to tell, or do you think that business is starting to pick up for some of these places?
I'm just going to judge by the lines that I've seen.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, you can see there's some days that are more active than others. Like a Tuesday, my parking ramp is $1 more expensive on a Tuesday because
Wednesdays too.
Yeah, those are the days that people are agreeing to come in on. And then it gets a little loosey-goosey on the other sides. But there's nothing like that feeling. I don't know. I was a northern Minnesota country girl, so when I moved down to Minneapolis, there's a specific energy that comes from working downtown and being around that mix of people who are rushing, and you're in the middle of your day and everybody's feeling the break in the middle of doing your important, if that makes sense.
I feel like an adult. Like when I'm getting my like $15 salad, I'm like,
100%.
I'm adulting.
Yeah.
As I'm standing in line.
Full-blown
Look
adult.
at me being, having a job and everything, not having to walk outside.
And the other thing I get to do is go back to some of my favorite places, like the Brothers Deli in 50 South 6 has long been one of my favorite places for a sandwich. I used to work in that building. I have a lot of memories around there. And there's a specific downtown pride I have of standing in line for those amazing roasted in-house pastrami sandwiches and watching the people line up for Chipotle across the street, knowing that my food is so far superior to yours.
Your chain food. You're part of the chain gang. Go with the local.
I can tell you don't care, but I know that my food is better.
My food is better than yours.
For anybody who loves a potato salad, that Brothers Deli potato salad is something that is specific and special.
What other mom and pop local places would you recommend to someone that has never, ventured too far from the chains?
Another place that I cannot get enough of is Savory. It's in the Skyway. We smelled it before we saw it.
What kind of food is Savory?
So this is Vietnamese food, and it's family owned. So you can just tell that everybody who's working there, they have that like telepathy that you have when you're related to each other.
Yeah, you don't have to tell them to. You don't have to tell the next person to put that on that.
Exactly. Oh, and the smells. So they make a pho that is just incredible. This toasty star anise and cinnamon aroma mingled with Thai basil and cilantro and jalapenos. It's so good. They have spring rolls that my colleague Nancy those are her favorite, hand down, anywhere in Minneapolis, downtown to Minneapolis, spring rolls. They're so good. And that's another one where there's only a couple spaces in there to dine in, but you just line up with everybody. You're having that communal experience. They move it quickly, and you can take it back to your desk, and you have just this gorgeous bowl of soup that's so nourishing, so good.
My favorite is Sushi Takatsu. And
yes.
I think, that line for that, they're super efficient with that line. They come out and ask you what you need. And everybody goes for the sushi bowl, which is great and very, well priced. But I try to get things that are not the sushi bowl when I have a little bit more time to, wait. And so they have, a chicken dish that's like a curry chicken. Oh, my gosh. It is so good.
Okay.
I have to balance the bag as I'm, running, but it's worth it. It stays hot. And they also open late. And I was going to ask you, for somebody like me, I work, later hours. What are some places that are maybe open a little bit later than just noon?
Well, that's still one of the things, isn't it? That they so many of our restaurants seem to open for lunch at 10:30 and close at 1. I'm never have it together enough to go at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, at 3. I'm at 3. Oh no, I didn't eat.
Yeah, I've still got to go. I do find that this might be random, but Cardigan Donuts is still open.
Do they give? I felt there's one donut place that if you're past the prime time, they give discounts. Is that Cardigan?
Oh, I'm not sure.
See, this is what I'm trying to my Skyway memory is kind of getting a little fritzy on me. But
well, let's beg off of here and go get donuts afterwards.
Ask them to give us like half-price donuts.
Afternoon donuts. I am not shy with the donuts. The other thing I found is that Fragment Coffee, which is one of the coffee shops in the Skyway, has Cardigan Donuts. It's over, that one's on 6th Street. And they have all kinds of hot food too.
It's
and grab and go. They have egg salad sandwiches and a little retail spot. It's a full coffee shop up off the street, and they do stay open into the afternoon.
Now, obviously, we're talking about a lot of stuff that's on the Skyway, in the Skyway Connected Sky. What's worth getting outside and like going on the street level? Can you give me like a street level recommendation that's worth me getting cold and stuff, or maybe rainy, but the food is that good?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. When was the last time you had lunch at Murray's? I mean, one of the iconic steakhouses downtown Minneapolis.
I guess I've never. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever had lunch there. I've had dinner there, but never even thought to have. It just seems like it would be too heavy. But is there stuff that I could eat?
Yeah, there's there's lighter bites. They have lunch specials. They have like super classic wedge salad where you get the blue cheese and the French dressing poured over it at the same time. They have an iconic raspberry pie. It's lovely. And I think best of all is while you're getting that same quality steak at a lunch price, at a lunch portion, you still get that solid service. The way they take care of you there it feels so special. Again, you feel like a fancy adult who works in downtown.
I'm having a sit-down lunch today. This is my 2-hour lunch, I sit down 2 hours.
That's it, too. They will get you in and get you out. Like, if they know that hour-long lunch break is a hard out. So they'll turn the table as fast as you need to go.
But overall, downtown still has a lot of options for all these workers that are coming back. Sounds like there's a bunch of new options that we didn't even have before because of just the way the world has worked, and places were able to take advantage of some of the empty space.
So many things. One more tip for down on the street level, the 801 Chop House. If you're coming downtown for a Lynx or a Timberwolves game, this is I hate to give away my secrets, but this is the bar seat to come grab for a happy hour discount because they have fantastic food. Again, it's steak-based, but they've got great specials, super polished service too, a great dark wood, cool old bar, and TVs. So it's a great place to dip in before you have to go out and go get to your event.
Well, Joy, I really appreciate this whole talk. I'm actually very hungry. I had like one slice of pizza before I came in here from Andreas downstairs, but now I'm like, oh, okay, maybe if I could make a run for it, I can get some of these other places really close a little bit.
I have that effect on people.
We'll stick around a little bit longer. We're going to do the Minnesota Goodbye together.
Awesome.
Before we go, we have to do a Minnesota Goodbye. Joy, what's one thing from your week that's been quintessentially Minnesotan?
I have been watching on TikTok videos of people harvesting wild rice, like real wild rice. I've had quite a few encounters lately with like the processed thing. And as somebody who grew up in the region where that's grown, I miss real wild rice. And watching people move the canoes through the waterways and that kind of sound of tapping it into the bottom of the canoe, it's something that's such a beautiful process. It's a sacred tradition, and it's something that I'm so lucky that people have shared with me in my past that it just brings me right home.
Wow. We had Kim Hyatt on the podcast a few weeks ago, and she had just done a wild rice project and had some videos of that. And it's just a beautiful, and like the audio of it, it's just so like, wow, it's amazing. I don't know the last time I've had do you get wild rice like that's actually processed naturally like that? Or?
Whenever I can, I get the hand parched, the toasted, because there is an aroma and a flavor of that is unlike anything else. And it's so specifically up north. It's campfirey and toasty and kind of woody and rich, slathered with butter. It just reminds me of eating at my grandma's table.
Oh, sounds delicious. I'm so hungry. My story, I was just up in Brainerd this past weekend, and I was at Gull Lake, and I hadn't been paddling that much this season, so I was very excited to get out. This is my first time bringing my 1-year-old son out on the canoe, too. And It was super fun, but it was really windy.
Oh,
really windy. And we had to actually turn back because it was that windy that day, and my wife didn't feel like it was safe. What ended up happening is we had some family that was also out there in a canoe. They capsized, and one of my grandnephew was there. He's a toddler, and so he had his life jacket on, and one of the other people had a life jacket on. So they're okay. Everybody's okay.
oh gosh.
But it reminded me, like, okay, I think in Minnesota, we obviously love our outdoor stuff. I feel like people have traditions. We almost get super comfortable doing things, and then we kind of forget, oh wait, we need to make sure we're safe. They had to swim. They luckily were able to get him in a canoe, another person's canoe, and then they had to swim to shore. Luckily, a nice guy was there and took him on a boat to come back to the resort. But one of them didn't have their life jacket on because she was like, I'm a really good swimmer. And I was like, no, you can't just do that. You always have to have your life jacket on. And so I guess what my message was that we all want to be outdoors. We all want to do all these fun things and stuff like that. It's okay to play it safe, wear the life jacket. If something is, if it doesn't feel right when you're out, or if it's too windy or it's raining, you can go the next day, just turn around. Seriously, I was fighting to stay out there. I was like, no, this is fine. But I was so glad that we were able to come back, and a great nephew, I ran him a nice hot bath, and he's fine. He's fine. A little traumatized, but he's still wants to go out on the water. But you just got to be a little careful.
Yeah, I love that both our stories come back to water and the power of water.
Water can be, it's those little waves.
It's powerful. It's life-giving. It's quintessentially Minnesota.
Quintessentially Minnesota. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. Talk to you again. Bye. Worth It is a co-production of the Minnesota Star Tribune and Lemonada Media. It's hosted by me, Nicole Norfleet. The production team includes Melissa Townsend, Chrissy Pease, and Tiffany Bowie, with help from Zoe Jackson and Casey Darnell. This series is mixed by Johnny Vince Evans with technical help from Matt Gilmer. Our theme was composed by Dan Malad. Lemonada's Senior Vice President of Weekly Content and Production is Steve Nelson, and the Star Tribune's Director of Audio and Video Initiatives is Jenny Pinkley. Executive producers are Stephanie Whittles-Wax and Jessica Cordova-Kramer. Help others find our show by leaving us a rating and writing a review. Follow Worth It wherever you get your podcasts, or listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership. Thanks so much for listening. Catch you next week. Bye.